So anytime we see this sort of thing, we start to wonder whether the Tainos didn't live and eat here. We want to look for this sort of blackness for evidence of fire. This appears to be natural to me, but it's something to look for. So this would seem to be an obvious place to take shelter, if you will, from the elements, and a place where primitive people might have sought refuge. Okay. Yet more things to explore. I'll be careful to tread on solid stone so that if there were to be any sort of pottery shards here, I would not be stepping on them. Okay. I don't know what this is exactly, but it almost looks like terracotta. You see a little bit of texture there, and it looks fairly smooth. Nice cross section here, and this part here almost looks like a lip to some sort of clay pot. I could be wrong about this. It looks like the same color as all the other rock around here, but anytime I see curved surfaces like this, they sort of catch my attention. Here we have a little piece of crab, whether land crab or whatever. This could not be hundreds of years old, but evidently would have been the sort of thing that the Taino would have eaten. They would not have had domesticated animals or anything like that. There aren't anything like rabbits or deer on the island. So really about the only source of protein would have been from the sea or land creatures like small crabs and snails and such. So I don't think we've found anything archaeologically relevant here, but we do have a nice place to sit and find some respite from the hot sun. It's just about high noon now, and I'm a bit cooler up here, and it's a nice place to stop and rest and just contemplate what was here or who might have been here hundreds of years ago.
Okay, so we've made our way around the eastern side of the escarpment, which Dee was showing us earlier. And I made my way around and I found this cave that's behind us right now. Now, Dietrich and myself have already gone in, and what we found is a chamber that goes, about 20 feet into the rock. And at the end we have a small roundish chamber that's not too big, but we found just basically a small friable substrate, lots of snail shells, and along the way Dietrich found an interesting bone with a curve in it, which we suspect maybe goat, maybe human, we're not sure. Very interesting bone nonetheless. But what we're going to do is we're going to take you inside and show you all these things that we found.
Okay, this is what I was looking for. This is an old snail shell. Very large, not sure what species it is, but you can tell it's been here for some time. So, interesting find there. Number two, it's this interesting bone. See that curve going through the middle of it. Possibly goat, or maybe even human rib, we don't know. But very interesting to find this in this chamber we're in right now. As I'm making my way through this chamber, I mind my steps to make sure I'm not crushing anything, whether it be snail shells, pottery, skulls, fragments, anything that could be of any significance. Because once you break it, it cannot be fixed again. If you look towards the ceiling, there's a very interesting fissure going quite a ways up there. As I was coming in through the cave, I noticed a significant cool draft coming in, and I believe this is the source of where this is. Because, as you can see, we've pretty much reached the end of the tunnel to the chamber I was discussing earlier. And no air is going to get to this rock, that's for certain. Looks very much like a, unless it's a nicely cut piece of rock that fell off, that would that be pottery at all? Maybe it's just rock flinted off. Possibly that. Let me see if I can find anything somewhere.
Appears to just be rock.
Okay.
Pottery would be darker.
Okay. So, another piece of shell. As I'm going through this chamber, I'm making sure to check all the pockets and things, because if this was a burial chamber, that's where we would find bones and skull fragments and things like that. The Taino would take these fragments of the body and store them in different chambers and crevices like this. And in caves that we've explored elsewhere throughout Jamaica, we found skulls in the strangest nooks and crannies. So it's always important to check and see if you can find them anywhere. Just noticing this interesting formation along this rock. These little stalactite things. So here we are in the circular chamber, and this dirt, this powdery sand, this is so friable, it's unbelievable. It's a very fine powdery substance, and it's obviously full of shells and things like that, but it's so soft, it's almost as though it'd be perfect for bedding or something like that if you just laid a cloth over it. It fills this entire chamber we're in right now. And this is where we found some fragments, old snail shells. This is a rather larger one. So there's a bit of a crab leg, crab arm. When I first came in here, I was very, very amazed at just how friable and soft this surface is. I'm used to caves being either a very hard rock surface or very muddy guano covered surface, and this is just a very interesting change from all of that. So something to note. Again, in this chamber, if you look up, there are a few tubes, is the best way to describe it. A few tubes that don't necessarily exit out into the surface, but they do go a good couple of feet up. And if that was open, that would let elements in, but then again, if you had a fire, that would be a convenient way to get the smoke out. If you look down here, you notice one of the creatures that doesn't inhabit the cave today. To me, that looks like some sort of camel cricket, but maybe it's something else. And it looks as though it just molted out of that skin. You can see the cricket below, but then there's that skin it looks like it just molted out of right there. And this guy just seems to be chilling out and hanging out, probably nocturnal. He's just taking it easy. And we're not going to disturb him.